Coming to you live from the rinks in Hauppauge. You're listening to the Suffolk County High School Hockey League right here on LI Sports Network. Second of three freshman matchups on this Friday night at the rinks. Of course, you got the North Rink rock and roll night. They're rocking and rolling, lights are going, music's bumping. But here on the North Rink, that's the South Rink. Here on the North Rink, set for our second of two matchups here between West Islip and East Islip. It's East Islip Bowl at the freshman level. And East Islip come into the game tied for first place, rather. Currently in second place, only due to a tiebreaker loss to Smithtown Hauppauge freshman Red. And that tiebreaker is due to regulation wins. But Smithtown Hauppauge freshman Red have a game extra that they have played over East Islip. So East Islip with a win tonight take full possession of first place in the freshman standings. As I mentioned also, do not have a regulation loss this season. Two ties, one to St. Anthony's and another to KPC. Otherwise, an unblemished, excellent season for the Chiefs of EI. Hallmarked by some key big wins against some good teams such as ESM, who will play later tonight against KPC. They beat them 9-1. Middle Country, we just saw play St. Anne's to an 8-6 game, which St. Anthony's were the victors on an empty net goal. It was 7-6 late. A heroic comeback cut just short by Middle Country. East Islip play the Friars in 3 days from now on Monday, March 9th. Should be an excellent game. East Islip beat West Islip 10-0 back on October the 8th, which capped off a two-game stretch in which they outscored their opponents 18-0. They had shut out Sachem 8-0 prior to that. Sachem currently fighting it out in a three-way tie for that final playoff spot here in the freshman level. For West Islip, it's a bit of a developmental reset sort of season. Got kicked off on quite the high note, though, with a 4-1 win against DSM. However, they have struggled to put together multiple wins in a row after that. They beat the Friars by way of forfeit on October 25th and scored the upset against KPC 4-3 on November the 7th. The only two games they have won in a row. They're currently on a two-game skid following a 3-3 tie to Northport Huntington. They have not won since a 3-0 win back on December the 6th against Smithtown Hauppauge freshman Blue. And a tall task lay ahead of them with the East Islip Chiefs. They're in-town rivals. So players to look out for ahead of this matchup tonight. For EI, Evan Connors, one of the leaders in the freshman division in terms of points, has 32 in 11 games played. That is good for fourth most in the division. Christian Fowler, another talented East Islip Chief with a wealth of points scored this season. Fowler, 28 of them, 17 being goals. So we're underway. It's Straub. And this is an EI team who made it all the way to the freshman championship game against Smithtown Hauppauge freshman Red, where they fell in overtime to the Bulls in game 3 of the championship game, or game 3 of the championship. They have their sights set on making it back there. Van Steen cruising through neutral ice. He's into the zone. Good poke check delivered by Shea Levy. And WI clear the zone. Barbarito first on it for the Chiefs. 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points this season for Barbarito. As his stretch pass missed Connors, goes all the way down, becomes an icing against EI as we're just over 1 minute through this first period. For West Islip, players to look out for. Again, scoring's been difficult this season, averaging just 1.9 goals per game. Mikey Lane has 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points, leads the Lions in scoring. Tied for the team leading goals, and all by himself with 7 is the most. Put to the slot area where it's promptly cleared out by EI. Good moves. Gained the zone momentarily by Jarena. And now Connors trying to gain the zone. Now Jarena with Walsh. Jarena's shot never got through. Jarena making his 10th start here tonight. Has 6 points on the year, 3 goals, 3 assists. Paleo will fire that one in for West Islip. Or pardon me, that was Luke Galante firing in for West Islip. Here is Connors. Connors will rim around. For 2 minutes into the hockey game, Walsh puts it out in front. Intercepted and skated out by Paleo. There's Sebastian Paleo. Cuts into the zone, a long wrist shot, blockered away by starting netminder for East Islip, Azar. Joey Azar and Anthony Ford, the tandem this year in the freshman level for the Chiefs. Starting in net tonight for West Islip, Connor Fry. So we get a stoppage in play. Puck ending up in the East Islip bench. 2 minutes and 32 seconds into this first period. So the face-off just outside the West Islip end. Here's Mazzarone in the middle here for Fowler. Fowler, a backhand shot, turned away by Fry. Clear it out of the zone. Puck on edge will be rimmed around to the near side. Here for Mazzarone. Going to lead Fowler out of the zone. Good step up by Wilk. West Islip briefly back into the offensive zone. Mathers will backhand ahead. Mathers, one of the prominent developmental East Islip Chiefs from a season ago, as Mazzarone trying to drop it for Fowler. Wilk stick in the way. Stretch pass just out of the reach of Jake Iniano. Here's Meyer. Finding number 97 for East Islip, Liam Van Steen, briefly off his stick, back with Meyer. And now Van Steen comes away with the puck. Tries to hit Doherty through neutral ice. Doherty knocked down by Levy, and that will be a penalty against West Islip. And Shea Levy will go to the box. Tough call there. Roughing is the call on Levy, who leaps over the penalty box door and will sit for 2. So East Islip to the game's first power play. They have a 45.5% power play this season. A truly remarkable stat for how effective this East Islip power play has been this year. Van Steen will take the offensive draw, flanked by Jarena and Mathers. Fowler, Mazzarone on the points. Take it against Lundgren, CJ Lundgren. And Lundgren takes away the pass from Fowler. Galante trying to put it between the legs for Lundgren. Back comes Jarena of EI. In the middle, all the way across here for Mathers. Went on the end boards. Now Fowler. Lost it to Giorgio. Stopped up by Mathers on the far boards. Centering pass was blocked. Lundgren couldn't clear. Down and around for Fowler. Fowler battling Giorgio. Now Mathers. Mathers, far circle, shoot, save Fry. Rebound! Stopped by Fry as well. 45 seconds into this power play for EI. Mazzarone Fowler settles across, deflected in. Jarena on the beautiful feed by Fowler. And that's a Chiefs power play goal. They lead it 1-0. Fowler showing the patience and showing the precision with that pass right off the perfectly angled stick of Jarena, his 4th of the season. Gives EI the early 1-0 lead. East Islip quickly back in the offensive zone. Connors centers, blocked. This time by Kent. To the point. Barbarito, a slap shot. Knocked down in front by Walsh. Rebound, Connors scores! Evan Connors off the ricochet in front. Doubles EI's lead. It's 2-0 as they quickly strike twice in 20 seconds. There it goes right off of, like Walsh in front. Alex Walsh, not sure if he'll get an assist for that. I think he should. Why not? It went off him, right off his body. Here's Connors looking for more. Glove save made by Fry, and Fry will slow things down. 9:51 to go in the first period. Evan Connors extending his team lead in goals to 19. And points with 33. Levy knocked to the ice. Barbarito try to keep it alive. Levy back on his skates. Clears it out. Chases after it. It'll be Amarim. Deflected ahead by Doherty. Now Walsh. Good move to the backhand. Walsh forehand tucks it in. He scores! Highlight reel goal for Alex Walsh. His 17th of the season is a thing of beauty. There's the first cut to the outside. Defense is thinking, all right, just keep it to the outside, should be fine. Just kidding, I'm gonna pop right back across the crease, tuck it around the pad. Light work for Alex Walsh. Incredible goal. And East Islip, an avalanche of goals here, 3 of them, all in just 53 seconds. 3 goals in 53 seconds for EI. They've blown things wide open. Mathers now flying through neutral ice. Mathers to the outside. Sharp angle tries, stopped by Fry. Loose puck. Potato slaps it down. Mathers trying to keep it in at the far point, and does with a little help from his friend Straub. Now back out to neutral ice. Brentwitz will put it right back in. Giorgio. Outlet pass. Just missed Daniano. Potato. Trying to plug it up the near side. Good job by Adam Rank. Shifted ahead by Sebastian Paleo. Here for Aniano. Throws one across, hoping for Rank on the back door. It's intercepted and cleared by Potato. He'll go for a change. Straub on the forecheck, putting pressure on Giorgio. Took it away. Straub. Now Mazzarone. Try to return to Straub. Does. They score. Absolutely no chance for Connor Fry that time, as Mazzarone and Straub link up for the 4th East Islip goal. There's a little miscommunication with the defense in front. Leaves Straub all on his lonesome. 4-zip EI. And 4 goals in 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Meyer keeps it in. Mazzarone has it come out of the zone. Rory Straub now on the season, his 10th goal. That'll end up on the East Islip bench. Look out, Coach Barbarito. I don't think he even blinked. As the Chiefs fish out the puck. Great one-handed grab there by the official. And the puck will be dropped deep in the East Islip zone. Again, welcome everyone to the Rinks in Oppog for the Suffolk County High School Hockey League matchup. My name is Ryan Brannigan. I'm joined alongside camera operator Rowan Laddick as that shot blocked in front. Now Levy will try one that directed into the corner. Now back out in front. A backhand shot turned away. A good look that time for Sebastian Kent. Now a long shot from Webster doesn't make it through. Levy does a good job to keep it in. Shea Levy trying to create some space, surrounded by East Islip Chiefs. And EI able to clear. A good intercept though from Cascone. Thwarts a counterattack for EI. Kent through neutral ice for Cascone. Andrew Cascone rims around. Rowan Burnt on the forecheck. Held in for the moment by Webster. Now comes out. Foot race. And a great job diving back there by Shea Levy. West Islip have a budding great defenseman back there in 77, Shea Levy. But there's a great move from Fowler, turned aside by Fry. Webster will take a penalty here as he took down Jurena. East Islip 1-for-1 on the power play tonight. We'll get their second look, and as I mentioned on the season, one of the best numbers in the freshman division, really in any division in the SCHSHL, 45.5% against a 61.1% penalty kill of West Islip. Again, they're 1-for-1 tonight. Connors to Lazarino. Lazarino back to Evan Connors. Far point. Plays it down low. Barbarito comes up the far boards and plays across to Lazarino. Walsh and Lazarino play catch. Back with Lazarino. All the way across for Connors. One-time pass blocked by Wilk. Good skate rather there by Lucas Wilk. Walsh. Lazarino. Wrist shot from distance. Swallowed up by Connor Fry. .48 seconds gone by in this power play for EI. Off the face-off, more control for East Islip. Lazarino to Connors. Back to Lazarino. Walsh with a screen in front. The shot off the side of the net. It's Barbarito screening in front. Here's Evan Connors. Wrist shot blocked by Wilk. Gets it, comes right back to Connors. Connors across, shot just wide. Great setup for Alex Walsh in front. Clinical looking power play here. Nothing but zone time. Connors in front. Straub, one-timer denied by Fry. Walsh, 44 seconds left in the East Islip power play. Alex Walsh has it knifed away from him, but it's not out of the zone. It's Evan Connors. Fakes the shot, now goes to Straub. Straub near circle, shot, turned away by Fry, and cleared out by Wilk. Good looks from that East Islip power play. A bend, don't break mindset for West Islip. They maintain their structure the best they can there and get the clearing they needed. Straub right back in. Challenged by Shea Levy. Straub around the circle, shoots. Blocked down in front, rebound turned away by Fry. Fired to the line, not out. held in by the skate of Connors, and now taking advantage, Galante, quick to it, fires it right back in, and the penalty is over. So 1 for 2 tonight, the power play for East Islip, and penalty kill for West. Fowler, one-on-one, great poke check. Sebastian Palaio, but he can't clear. It's back with Fowler. Tees up the shot along the ice wide. Back in possession of Sebastian Palaio. Now it's Mazzarone. Mazzarone to the backhand. Now Mathers grips, rips, shot is snagged by Fry, who holds. 3:30 to go in this first period. 4-0 East Islip, leading West Islip. You're live on LI Sports Network. Defensive zone draw win by West Islip. Shea Levy. Giorgio. Lundrigan. Up the boards, taken away by Fowler. Back here with CJ Lundrigan. Poked into the zone, not quite out. Galante sends it into the opposite corner. Ahead here, Mazzarone to Gerena, off the stick of Gerena, and here's Giorgio. Galante backhands ahead. Mathers. Off the stick of Gerena. It's back with West Islip. CJ Lundrigan. Picks up speed into neutral ice. Good step up and poke check from Mazzarone. Webster. Over to Levy. Levy did not hit the red line before his dump in, and therefore will be an icing against West Islip. With 2:18 to go here in the first period. 4-0 East Islip. Explode for 4 earlier in this first period. All within a 2-minute, a little over 2-minute stretch as Mayer. That shot deflected, save made by Fry. They would be leading by more if not for some of the saves made by Connor Fry. Open space here for Mikey Lane. Down the left wing side. Good stick though by Meyer to break it up. Abenda. D to D to Webster. Webster loads up and fires. Went off the stick of Amarim and wide. Abenda plays it back into the East Islip zone as West Islip touch up. Abenda backhands, or rather that's Burnt backhanding it for Abenda. Onside play here for West I as Rowan Burnt gets tangled up with Van Steen. Abenda lost it to Straub. Straub far circle, wrist shot, scores! What a shot from Rory Straub. Paints the corner of the net to make it 5-0 East Islip, his second tonight. There is a target, as there would be for an accuracy shooting all-star type of competition. It would have been eviscerated by that puck. What a well-placed shot from Rory Straub, who now has 11 on the year. East Islip looking for more. Walsh, oh my goodness! Alex Walsh, one for the highlight reel. 6-0 EI. There is 1, 2, 3 defenders in the area, and Walsh goes through the legs and finishes on the backhand. An outstanding goal for Alex Walsh, showing why he is one of the best up-and-coming talents in the Suffolk County High School Hockey League. his 18th of the year. He scored his 17th earlier in the period. Lazarino races after it. Under 30 to go here in the first. Lazarino hands it on back. Directed off the boards, out of the reach of Doherty. Here's Evan Connors, inside, outside. Connors scores! A touchdown and an extra point from East Islip in this first period on West Islip. And Evan Connors showing why he is also one of the best up-and-coming players in the Suffolk County High School Hockey League. Joey Barbarito picks up an assist on that Connors goal. Walsh and Straub's goals were unassisted. As another flurry here from East Islip as they score 3 times in 1 minute and 12 seconds to end the first period. And prior to that, scored 3 goals in 1 minute and 53 seconds. 7-0 over West Islip at the end of 1 period of hockey. Two goals for Straub, 2 goals for Walsh, 2 goals for Connors, 2 assists for Mazzarone. And we'll step aside and be back with period number 2 in just a moment here on LI Sports Network.
Sorry, I'll talk about stuff. Don't worry. I'll talk about the Islanders trading a first-round pick plus for Braden Shen.
Oh, did you see that what it was first round prospect too?
Oh, is all that?
Yeah, that was all one deal.
Wow.
Welcome back here to the rinks in Upper. Listening to the Suffolk County High School Hockey League here on LI Sports Network. 10-0 was the result of the first meeting between these two sides as East Islip, a well-oiled machine. No chinks in the armor. 12-0-2. And they showcased all of what they're made of in that first period, dropping a 7-bomb on West Islip. Banked ahead, Galante looking to free up Lundgren. Eventually Lundgren sticks with it. Lundgren is in, Lundgren scores! There's a highlight reel goal. West Islip are on the board. Their first goal against East Islip this year comes from an excellent goal from C.J. Lundgren. And you love to see him stay with this puck. Looks like it's going to get kicked away, knifed away. No. He's still going forward with it. Nice toe drag and perfectly placed shot over the blocker of Azar. 7-1. So, great start here to period number 2 for West Islip. See if they can build some momentum following that Lundgren goal. And for CJ Lundgren, he's now up to 4 on the year, which is most on West Islip, surpassing a couple of teammates and Matthew Minervini, who hadn't played, only played 7 games this year. Mikey Lane and Lucas Wilk all had 3. Lundgren now with 4. Cascone over skates. Here comes Straub. 2 goals in that first period. Rory Straub racing to the outside. Puts one toward Fry, who made the save. Van Steen trying to angle one right back out in front. Kicked off the apron of the net. Redirected back into neutral ice by East Islip. Kent looking to charge into the offensive zone, joined by a few teammates and a Benda pinching in. That allows the lead pass here. Van Steen on the backhand. Van Steen knocked to the ice. Great defensive back-checking play made by Sebastian Paleo. And it's a very young West Islip team as well. Not many true freshmen on it, as that shot from Straub eaten up by Connor Fry. Obviously today is trade deadline day, and as a Rangers fan, I was nervous to see what Drury would do this time, and he pulls out a trade of Brennan Othman. Meanwhile, the Islanders trading for Braden Shen. They sent a first, a third, a prospect, and Jonathan Drouin for Braden Shen, so that got a nice little chuckle out of me as a Rangers fan. But hey, the Islanders continue to have a great season as Fry stopped it in behind, taken away by Straub. Or rather, that is Amarim down low. Angled out of the zone by West Islip. Evan Connors retreats for the puck. Backhands one into some open ice to a teammate and Joey Barbarito. Amarim on the backhand sweeps it out in front, hoping for Walsh. He was tied up with Shea Levy. And now Wilk backhands one over to Adam Rank. Rank giving Walsh the business. Here's Evan Connors. Connors will knock Aniano to the ice. Plays it into open area. A couple of good moves here from Evan Connors through the legs of Webster and a cross out in front. Amarim stood up by Fry. Puck still loose and cleared out by West Islip. You know, from trade deadline day, another excellent chuckle was had for me when the Leafs traded Scott Lawton, who they acquired for a first-round pick and a prospect last year, for pennies on the dollar. Right pad save made by Connor Fry. Mathers stepping through, dumps in. How interesting would it be if there could be picks traded in the Suffolk County High School Hockey League? Of course, it doesn't really work that way, and you know, there is a draft of sorts, and can't exactly just send players to different parts of the island. Again, it don't really work like that. Get a stoppage in play. I believe a penalty coming up on East Islip. And Mazzarone goes into the box. Power play opportunity here for West Islip. We're trying to build off some momentum from their first goal of the game scored this period. They haven't allowed a goal this period either. Smooth sailing here in the second for West Islip following a tough first period. Held in at the near point for the moment by Paleo. Now the puck comes out. Benda banks one for Galante. And Luke Galante dumps in. Mikey Lane looking to retrieve. Potato lost it. Nice move by Benda. A shot denied by Azar. Rebound rescued in front by Fowler. Nice play here from Fowler, Christian Fowler. Stood up at the line, however. Good defensive play made by Paleo. Now it's the goal scorer, C.J. Lundrigan, dropping one for Luke Galante. Galante flicks one into the zone, knocked down by Fowler. Galante keeps in, angles one toward Azar. Stops it up behind for Van Steen, and Van Steen clears it all the way down. Minute gone by on this West Islip power play, their first tonight. Mikey Lane on a good outlet pass from Abenda as it poked from him by Fowler. Here comes Fowler to the forehand. Oh, stood up by the outside of the net. Completely fooled Connor Fry, but couldn't quite tuck it home for the short-handed goal. And now we've got some rough stuff in behind. Fowler is incensed. Abenda's getting shown to the box. And if it wasn't for the stripes, Fowler probably would have been taking a more serious infraction than he did, if he did any. Fowler's going to the bench, so the stripes absolutely saving Fowler from himself there as Abenda goes to the box. There were 39 seconds left on the West Islip power play. There are 9 minutes and 6 seconds left here in the second period. I'm awaiting the updates from the scorers table for what has put Abenda into the sin bin. Sin bin is, I think that's a great name for a band. The Sin Bin, or just Sin Bin. I'm thinking a rock band, you know. They're not gonna be like a punk band. Maybe punk. Punk might work. It's got to engage the camera operator Rowan Laddick here. Does a great job. Head contact, the minor penalty afforded to Marco Abenda. And that comes with it a 10-minute misconduct. That'll be served by a teammate. Well, the 2-minute penalty will be served by the teammate. Abenda will be in the box for 2 minutes. And then we've got an unsportsmanlike conduct minor. Also handed out to Marco Abenda, which means that's 2 penalties for Abenda. 4, you're out of the game. Checking to see if he took any prior. Doesn't look like he did. So again, the misconduct is not itself a penalty that results in less players on the ice, but it does result in less Marco Abendas on the ice. Four on four for 39. Comes back to Meyer. D to D, Lazzarino. Long shot blocked by Lane. He took that on the back of the leg, and that's an area with not a lot of protection. Lane shakes it off, stays out on the ice, showing the hockey player he is. And now we'll hobble over to the West Islip bench, where I am sure we'll get a many pats on the back for that block on the Lazzarino shot. Levy unable to clear, held in by Lazzarino. Finds Van Steen. Van Steen trying to go rink wide. Back to his teammate. Lazzarino having trouble with it. Lundrigan able to clear the zone. East Islip have to quickly touch up. Levy to Lundrigan, back to Levy. Banked one for Webster. Webster in the feet of Galante. Poked off the stick of Van Steen. And now Meyer spinning. Dumps in for East Islip. They go to the power play for a minute here. Now, about 50 seconds left on it. Here's Van Steen. Can't get around Webster. And then going into the boards hard. It was a bang-bang play, but Van Steen briefly flashing numbers in front of the boards. You can't push that jersey forward at that point. Van Steen shaking up will go and step aside. 5-on-3 coming up for EI, up by 6 on the LI Sports Network. Van Steen to his feet. Guided by Coach Barbarito over to the East Islip bench. Stick taps and board smacks for both East Islip and West Islip benches. Checking from behind, assessed to Connor Webster. It not only will be a minor, it'll be a major penalty on Connor Webster. So now an extended power play to come for East Islip. So 43-second 5-on-3, followed by a 4-minute and 17-second 5-on-4, bearing any other penalties. Walsh steamrolls to the net, scores. Alex Walsh with the 8th goal of the game for East Islip, his hat-trick goal. What an impressive year here for Alex Walsh. And now a power play for the next 4 minutes and 54 seconds for East Islip, following that major penalty taken by Connor Webster. Alex Walsh speeding into the zone, broken up by Cascone. And West Islip had the opening goal here of the second period. Looked like, and they had a power play too, all before East Islip scored. And now things seem back out of reach, as that goes off the top of the post and in. And that's a Chiefs power play goal, 9-1, as it's going to ricochet off the top of the net. Right there, right back down and into the back of the net. And because it's a major penalty, the goal does not end the power play for EI. They really have an opportunity to pour things on. Now CJ Lundrigan goes off to the bench. East Islip a man up for another 4 minutes. Aiden Mathers sending it back to Miles Mazzarone. Mathers takes off, gets it in stride. Near circle. Lost control of the puck. Sebastian Kent over to Shea Levy, and back here for Sebastian Paleo. Mathers keeps in. Got past Fowler. Doherty to the front of the net. Backhand shot, score. It's Amarim. And yet another Chiefs power play goal. 10-1. They lead West Islip. Amarim's third of the season. .320 left of power play time, and a timeout has been called by West Islip. We will step aside. You're listening here live to the Suffolk County High School Hockey League on LI Sports Network. Out of the timeout, West Islip trying to settle things down. Aiden Mathers over to Jarena, dropping it for Walsh. Hat-trick tonight for Alex Walsh. He has 19 now on the year. That centering pass intercepted by Lundrigan, handed off to Giorgio. Trying to clear the zone. Here's Aiden Mathers at the near point. Walks it down low. Pass got by Jarena. It's Shea Levy trying to march it out of the zone. Eventually it does come to CJ Lundrigan, responsible for West Islip's only goal tonight. Aiden Mathers. Mathers. No points here tonight, despite the double digits up on the board. Jarena centers. And a pass from Brentwitz comes out of the zone. Now it gets by the stick of Brentwitz. Lundrigan. Off the boards, held in by Meyer. Meyer going across ice. Walsh was going for a change. Responsible play here from EI not to take it too many players on the ice call there. It's back with Sam Mayer. Lazarino just taps it into the zone. There's still a minute and 35 seconds left on the Connor Webster major penalty for a check from behind. Van Steen dumps in. Levy to Lundgren off his stick. Here's Rory Straub. Straub with a pair of goals tonight. Lazzarino. Just puts it in deep. And not looking to necessarily pour it on at this point, are East Islip. But I believe they have just taken a penalty that will end their 5-minute major power play time of being 5-on-4. As Straub, balanced along the boards, finally makes his way into the box. Skate 4 aside for the next 56, and then an abbreviated power play for West Islip. Galante will take the draw in the offensive zone. However, it is won forward by Doherty. Overskated by Botetto. Galante flips it back in deep for West Islip. Connors feathers a puck that dies perfectly before the goal line. Almost looked like a shuffleboard of a play there from Evan Connors. Nice dangles here. More good moves to the net, poked away. Great rush up ice there from Sebastian Paleo. Ultimately ended by a poke check of Joey Azar. Botetto and Barbarito, along with Paleo, Giorgio, and Aniano for West Islip. Eventually comes to Connors. Connors flicks one on goal from neutral ice, handled by Connor Fry. And now that abbreviated power play for West Islip gets going now. And starts there as a shot on goal, stopped by Azar, who covers up with 52 seconds left on the West Islip power play. .236 to go here in the second. As we're live on trade deadline day, it was a rather pedestrian trade deadline if you ask me. Although John Carlson being traded, not on my bingo card. Took me and a lot of others in the hockey world by surprise. And Alexander Ovechkin not happy about it. Here is Lundgren dropping it off. One-time blast from Mikey Lane, channeling his inner Alexander Ovechkin there. Turned aside, now put back toward the front of the net. I mean, Lane's got an absolute cannon. Down for Fry, plays it over to Giorgio. 10 seconds left now on the West Islip power play. That Giorgio pass misfires on its way to Cascone, becomes an icing. .149 left. In this second period. EI with the 9-goal lead. We will have running time in the third period, bearing a couple more goals from West Islip, who see their power play come to an end. 5-on-5. Here's Luke Galante. Fired it over the net. Well positioned defensively there was Samuel Mayer. Stopped at the far point by Paleo, but the shot knocked down by Lazzarino. And Lazzarino fires one into the West Islip bench. Look out. As the coaches of Robert Lane, the head coach, James Giorgio, Scott Webster, and Sebastian Paleo, the coach, not the player, duck for cover. D-to-D pass. As Palaio moves it down the far boards. Back with EI, under a minute to go in the second. Mayer flicks one to Fowler. Christian Fowler. He's got Brentwitz ahead of him. Fowler hits the red line, dumps in. Rimmed around. It'll greet Brentwitz on the far side. He'll backhand one that's intercepted by Levy. Shea Levy over to Luke Galante. And Galante will rim around. 30 seconds to go now in the second. East Islip 7 goals in the first period, 3 in the second. 1 here for West Islip in period number 2. Punched all the way down. This will be an icing on EI. Stops the clock with 11 seconds left. Face off to the right of Azar. Connor Webster has made his way out of the game from behind the bench to my right here in the stands, where he'll be watching the rest of the game. So that long shot kicked away by Azar off the stick of Levy, and we're done with period number 2. East Islip continue to roll 10-1 after 2. You're listening here live on LI Sports Network. Ready or not, here comes the third period. 10-1 East Islip. Flexing their muscles on West Islip. They beat them 10-0 their first meeting. Here's Alex Walsh, has a hat trick tonight. Deflects one around. Past Amarim. Potato trying to go back to Amarim. Jousting there with Giorgio. Kept alive by Walsh. Alex will just flick it around. Palaio. Trying to find Rowan Burnt, who knocks down Walsh. Walsh have some words for Burnt following that hit. Stretch pass from Palaio. Doesn't find either stick of Kent or Cascone. Palaio's pass intercepted by Brentwitz. Brentwitz backhands in. Straub to Brentwitz. Try to return it to Straub. It's taken away by Andrew Cascone. Could go for a scone there right about now. Matter of fact, I don't think I've really ever had. I think I've had one once. They're all right, scones. I don't know what the big deal is about them in London. Here's Straub. Good keep in by Mazzarone. And they also go bonkers for tea. Have any of you had like tea? Like straight tea? It's not great. Not unless you dump a bunch of honey in it, in my humble opinion. Obviously, Brady Campbell, a huge supporter of Throat Coat. Not a sponsor. Mathers to Mazzarone. For checking here is Rowan Burnt. Brentwitz. And now Mazzarone. Miles Mazzarone tonight, a pair of assists. His point total increasing to 20 this year. Giorgio. Back in neutral ice. West Islip have been playing with 3 defensemen since Connor Webster was removed from the game following a hit on Van Steen in the boards. Boarding was the call. Van Steen has not seen the ice since. And obviously, with the nature of the game misconduct, neither has Connor Webster. Shea Levy. Now here is Paleo. Nice pass here. Hits Mikey Lane. Lane to Galante. Galante backhands one over to Lundrigan. CJ Lundrigan. Now for Mikey Lane. Back up top. Levy. Good pass. Lundrigan try to backhand it across at an open Galante. Just slightly fanned on it. Mayer throws it down ice. Here it is, Mikey Lane. Lane has it knocked from him by Jarena. Flicked ahead by Levy. And now Lane into some open ice. Help a Galante, onside play. Lane goes across off the skates of Meyer. Here's Lundrigan. Stolen away by Sam Meyer. Lazzarino for Fowler. Yeah, more deadline stuff. The Toronto Maple Leafs really did, in fact, trade a first-round pick and a prospect for Scott Lawton last year, only to trade him for a conditional third-round pick this year. One of the heart and soul Maple Leafs. Meanwhile, Sam Carrick is now a Buffalo Sabre, as the Buffalo Sabres continue to be a wagon as they try to break one of the most notorious playoff droughts in history, as the penalty is going to be called against West Islip here. Fowler passed too far for Bitetto. Swipes at it, it's touched up, and Abenda finally is able to exit the box. Reason why West Islip have been playing with 3 defensemen. Lucas Wilk replaces Abenda in the box. Lucas Wilk called. Oh, I'm waiting for the call to be updated, actually. And while that happens, the clock for both the penalty and the game clock do run. That is the one thing I always was confused about with the running clock, is that the penalty clock runs too. So if there's any stoppage like this, it just runs. I know the game's over at this point. I get it. I don't know. Just something I'm thinking about. Fowler peels away in front, looking for a deflection. Had Mathers just missed his stick. Doherty back up top for Mazzarone. Back to Doherty. Wrist shot, save made by Fry. Jarena centers. Redirected wide by Doherty. Mathers. Nearly stolen away from him by Levy. Still, it is with Aiden Mathers. Miles Mazzarone. Towing the blue line. Rims it around. Mathers once more. Jarena unable to catch up to it. Gets by Fowler. Fowler battling Adam Rank. And Fowler will just skate it back into neutral ice. 15 seconds left to go on the East Islip power play. As EI are set to claim first place to themselves with a big win tonight. Their 13th win of the year. And no regulation losses. Is about 7 minutes away. Christian Fowler finds Jarena. East Islip JV, though, fell to Longwood in what Travis Quigley deemed the best JV game he has ever seen. That game can be found and watched back live here on LI Sports Network. If you're a fan of East Islip, you're a fan of Longwood, be sure to check out that game. It was an absolute barn burner. Featured an incredible comeback to force overtime. I'm not going to spoil it. If you know, you know. If you don't, check it out. And if you're ready to check out, get caught up on the JV action, be sure to tune in to the game I called between Sachem and St. Anthony JV Black, where Sachem, the 8th seed, looked to make the upset. Here is Galante to the backhand, stopped by Azar. So out of the fray there, you get a breakaway for Luke Galante. We're all back to 5-a-side. Yeah, Sachem, St. Anthony JV Black, 8 versus 1. A game is a lot closer. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything. Happened on Wednesday. The JV semifinals are tomorrow, and I'll be on the call for them. Smithtown Hauppauge punched their ticket, defeating West Islip JV. West Islip JV had themselves a great season, especially following last year. They were great. It was scoreless until deep into the second period when finally the Bulls erupted for 4 goals in that second, including a Michigan from Caden Dorian. That can be found on our social media page at LI Sports Network. Be sure to give us a follow there if you haven't already. We're on our way to 10K on Instagram. We've got over 12K subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Come on. It's free. It's totally free. How many things are totally free nowadays? Man, I just filled up my gas, and I think we've been spoiled here on Long Island. We've had some cheap gas for the last big stretch, and now all of a sudden it's back at over $3 a pop for regular. Up near $4 for the good stuff. Jay Levy tumbles down to the ice on his bid to the front of the net. Here is an icing against East Islip. We're under 4 left in this third period. Sebastian Kent to take the face-off for West Islip. Goes wide. West Islip 4-9-1 this year. In 11th place. 3 points back of the three-way tie for 8th place, in which Middle Country currently occupies. They played St. Anthony's earlier tonight. Incredible game. It's one of the best high-flying teams. Middle Country giving St. Anthony's all they could handle. 8-6 the final in that one. Cascone goes across ice with it for Burnt. Back with Cascone. Coming up on the schedule for these two teams, East Islip take on St. Anthony's 3 days from now on March the 9th. That should be an excellent game. And West Islip are slated to take on Middle Country on March the 10th. Middle Country defeated West Islip 9-3 in the second game of the season between these two sides. Mikey Lane with under 90 to play. Potato. Wrestled away by Lane. Lane, stretch pass, hits Aniano. Here's Aniano. Wrist shot save made by Azar. West Islip avoid being shut out for the fourth time this year with that CJ Lundgren goal. Heading back to the JV circuit, the other team to punch their ticket, a 5-0 win for St. Anthony JV Gold over KPC after KPC beat JV Gold earlier in the year, and then it was a narrow win for St. Anne's against KPC in the regular season. But the Friars turned in what might have been their best performance in the quarterfinal. They will move on and play against Longwood. Spoiler, Longwood won against East Islip JV. As for freshmen, East Islip continue to roll. 10-1 they beat West Islip, outscoring their in-town rival 20-1 this season. It is West Islip's 10th win in a row as they improve to 13-0-2. While West Islip dropped to 4-10-1. And that will do it for our coverage here in this one. Thank you so much again for tuning in, especially all the way here to the end. On behalf of our camera operator, Rowan Laddick, my name is Ryan Brannigan, and we've got our final matchup of the night, KPC and ESM. 4-3 the score between those two teams. They're in their first meeting. This is the second. Should be a good one. So stick around here on LI Sports Network for that. As for everyone else heading out, have a good night. And until next time, I'll see you then here and only on LI Sports Network.